So,
Awesome.
yeah, cool, man. Hey, thanks for taking some time to hang out with me.
Hey man,
I
thanks for
know
having
it's
me.
absolutely, yeah. I really look forward to talking about your new album and the album release show. So we'll get to that. Um, but let's just start with 2023. How's the year going for you so far, and what's going on?
It's been a year, all right. That's pretty much all I can
Yeah,
say about it. There's been a lot of
yeah,
things. It's just been a lot. It's been a lot.
yeah. Been a lot going on in Sam's life, huh?
Yeah, that's a whole
Yeah.
episode on its own.
Is that it? Okay? Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Well, let's and maybe some of that'll come out, maybe some of it won't. Whatever needs to, great. But let's. I always like to start with kind of the musical journey that got you to where you are now. So, you're in Indiana now? Are you an Indiana guy?
Kinda. So I was born in Harris County, Texas, and
Okay.
then a series of questionable decisions by my family led us back here.
Okay.
So I've kind of been stuck here since I was like 3 or 4.
Okay. So no, probably real memories of Texas then.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Fire ants are a real thing, and I definitely still have scars on my feet.
No kidding. Wow.
Yes, sir.
All right. So where at in Texas, you said?
Houston, Harris County.
Okay, Houston area. Okay, cool. So you've been in Indiana since you were 3 or 4.
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah, and you're in Indianapolis now, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Were you in Muncie for a little bit?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So you're down in Indy now. Are you in the Fountain Square area,
Yes,
which we're going
sir.
to talk about
Yes,
here in a
sir.
little bit? Okay.
I work at World Famous Hotboys, so
Okay, there's the
yes,
connection. All
sir.
right. Well, yeah, more to come on that. So, all right, cool, cool. Um, so when you think about just at some point on your path, Sam, what early musical memories do you have that began to stir in you and you're saying, man, this is pretty cool. I like this.
So both my parents were super into music, but very different ends of the spectrum.
Okay.
My biological father grew up around like industrial music. My uncle was in a band
Mm.
called Anchor Watt, and then ended up being the bass player for Nine Inch Nails. So
Oh,
he
wow.
grew up around that and was like into
Okay.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas my mother is like more into like the hippy dippy like classic rock
Yeah.
kind of thing. And then
Yeah.
my grandparents are also very into music.
Okay.
Like my grandma went to the Beatles when they played at the State Fair in 1964, and she cried because she got to see Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, wow. That's a pretty special moment. Yeah.
so
Has she
like,
told you much about that experience?
well, I know that she was there and that she cried,
Yeah.
but
Well, and I think back in those days, I think they probably played, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm not up on my Beatles history at the State Fair Coliseum, but I think they played 2 shows maybe.
that
And,
could be true. I don't really
and
know about
like,
that.
yeah, I don't either. But, back then they played 45-minute sets. I
Right.
mean, yeah, it was a real short show by today's standards. So, well, that's cool that you've got that connection. Um, so as far as your influences, and it'll come out as we talk about some of the new music, but some of your early influences that just really laid the foundation for you. What were those bands and what was the genre or
So
genres?
there's two like sides to this. So because
Hmm.
a lot of people in my family like music, that was the
Hmm.
preface to this, right? We got a good little segue.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because everybody likes music, they like going to see live music.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I was just always kind of there when they
Hmm.
wanted to. Like my grandparents heard that there was something cool going on. Like there's a guy named Benito DiBartoli that played for Eddie Money for a while. That like I grew
Mm.
up watching at an Irish pub in Plainfield.
Oh,
He
really?
would do acoustic sets with a looper, and that man could play anything, quite
Wow.
literally anything. Oh, you want to talk
Mm.
about earliest memories? There you go.
Yeah, that's a
One
good one.
one time I got to he let me come up and jam with him, like right when I had like just started like getting good at playing.
Okay.
So I was probably like 10 years old, 12 years old.
No kidding.
Yeah, so that was pretty neat.
Wow. That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. So you started playing. When did you pick up guitar?
So I don't know. That's always been a really weird question because
Yeah.
like I always had one, like
Mm-hmm.
even if it was just like a rinky dinky little first act, like
Mm-hmm.
but like it
Yeah.
stays in tune or whatever. But
Yeah. Yeah.
like I started taking it relatively seriously in like third or fourth grade,
Okay.
um, and then to just kind of progress from there.
Yeah. What made you, if you can recall, what made you start taking it seriously?
I really don't remember. It was kind of just the only thing that I had found at that point that was like natural and made sense. Like
Hmm.
most people do
Okay.
sports or
Right.
whatever, like or
Mm-hmm.
like will like draw.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really have an interest in that. I would
Hmm.
rather well God, who did I want to be back then? I wanted to
Yeah.
be uh God in fourth grade. I wanted to be Angus Young from ACDC.
Well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody's probably had that experience. There are a few bands in the world that everybody goes, "Yep, I love them," and that would be one of them. AC/DC would be one of them. Just everybody loves AC/DC and Angus.
Of
So
course, of course.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Are you self-taught on guitar?
100%. Yeah,
Are you?
I took a little bit of lessons. Like
Yeah.
my parents had got me lessons right when I'd started, but I took like a
Hmm.
month of them, and then my guitar teacher died. Rest in peace, Tony.
Oh man.
Yeah, I knew the man for about a month. Just some old hippie dude. We just kind of
Hmm.
jammed the whole time. I didn't really learn
Yeah.
much but chords, but he was a good vibe.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool.
And
That's
then he
cool.
just kind of ceased to exist one day, and they were like,
Okay.
"Hey,
Well, that's
you're not gonna go back there anymore. He's kind of gone." I'm
yeah.
like, "All right, well."
Yeah. All right. Wow. Okay. So tell me about early band experience. How many bands have you been in, and just what was that experience like?
I've been in a few bands at this
Hmm.
point. Um, Jeez, oh Pete. I was in this program through Sam Ash in Castleton.
Yeah.
So now they're
Yeah.
called Rock Garage. Shout out Preston Nash, I guess, while we're on the
Okay.
segue here. But originally it was called Ash Rocks, still run by Preston, but it
Okay.
was in Sam Ash. And
Yeah, I
basic,
remember that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was part of that for a little bit. So like that's just a revolving door of bands. I
Sure.
can play bass and do a couple other things. So Preston had me just kind of everywhere that he needed to be on the side, like aside from like whatever like my main group
Sure.
was.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can't
Okay.
even remember.
Yeah. So was it always the rock side of things, or did you play some other stuff, or it's always been rock?
I mean, it's mostly been rock. I mean, I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
like you would call. No, yeah, it's mostly been rock, I guess, or like
Mm-hmm.
poppy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly on the
Yeah.
like those like the side like projects that he had me helping out with.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It As you began to formulate all that and you were getting this band experience, did you say, I want to be the guy out front, or were you just saying, I just want to be in a band?
So I always wanted to be the guy out front.
Did you?
So
Okay.
it's fourth grade. It started, like when I started playing guitar, it was like
Yeah.
Angus Young or like Tony Iommi. I still want to be Tony Iommi. Just like I'd like to keep my fingers.
Yeah. Well, that's important. Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
and then I moved on to like middle school. Like got into some like My Chemical Romance. I wanted to be Frank Iero for the longest time. I
okay.
loved his energy, his presence, and like the way he just was everywhere on stage all at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then not long after that, like when I actually started learning how to like really actually play, I got into Jimi Hendrix
Mm-hmm.
really heavy
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
like Grateful Dead. I started smoking weed and I
Yeah.
got really good at playing Grateful Dead stuff and Jimi Hendrix. So
Is that a prerequisite? Is that part of that?
honestly,
Uh, uh,
you can if you can shred and not smoke a little weed at the same time, like in the
yeah.
process, I will be thoroughly
Yeah.
impressed.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Okay, so and I've been on your website. You forwarded me some information. So tell me about the full Reverend Sam J. Fish the Third. What?
So I added the third because it sounds cool. Um,
Oh, that's great. That's great. Okay,
Reverend started kind of as a joke in high school
okay.
because I like got ordained as a minister as a joke, and then I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna get all of them.
Yeah.
So
All right.
if there's a religion that
Uh-huh.
exists that you can
Uh-huh.
get a certificate to online, I have it.
Uh-huh. Is that right? Well, you've got them covered
Yes,
then.
I'm all your
Yeah.
bases, all your bases. Hit me up.
All right, so that would lead to, have you performed any ceremonies as a reverend?
Not yet. I've been waiting
Not
for that.
yet.
It'd be
Okay.
cool.
All right. Yeah, well maybe somebody will hear this and go, "Hey, we need to hit up a reverend and we know one now." So, yeah. So you were just doing that more for fun and then said, "Why not just get them all, huh?"
Because somebody said you wouldn't, so I did.
Oh, so you did. Okay. All right. And where'd you go to high school?
I went to a couple different high schools.
Uh,
I just
Yeah.
kind of bounced around a little bit.
Okay. Okay.
Freshman year, I went to Heron. That was interesting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a school, all right.
Yeah.
Sophomore year, I went to Lawrence Central. I hear they
Mm.
still don't have ceilings.
Mm.
And then junior and senior year, I kind of went back and forth between Mooresville and the Crossing, which is like their alternative school.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. So tell me about the band name, Electric Sunshine. How did that come about?
It's an acid recipe from the 60s.
Wow. Well, there's some deep stories on each one of these. I wasn't expecting all that. Okay. So did you just gravitate to that right away? Did you consider other band names? I mean, how did that come?
So
What else was in the mix, I guess, so to
Electric,
speak?
Electric Sunshine, I guess, started like my sophomore year because
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I wanted to have my own thing, but I was
Mm-hmm.
still trying to figure out like, oh, what am I gonna like? What is my shit gonna sound like? What am I gonna
Mm-hmm.
like? What kind of stuff am I gonna do? How long is it
Mm-hmm.
all gonna be? Like all the little tiny intricate bits
Yeah.
of like what makes the sound.
Mm-hmm.
I was still trying to figure out. I was still trying to figure that out for the longest time, but I took a righteous acid trip one
Mm.
wonderful day. That was the first one, actually. I said, you know
Mm.
what?
Okay.
To heck with it. I'm going to eat two of them. Like 15 years old, I have a,
Wow.
I have a,
Uh,
the only show choir competition I ever drummed in
mm.
was the next morning.
Oh, wow.
So
Is that on tape somewhere?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember being there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I just kind of
Wow.
showed up, jammed, and then left, and everybody said, you did really good, but like not in a show choir way.
Mm-hmm.
Which apparently means that I was supposed to be like da 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 da, and I was just grooving.
Mm.
But
Okay.
at least I was
Mm.
locked in. So,
Yeah. All right.
but on that
Yeah.
mystical, magical trip, somewhere along the
Mm-hmm.
way, it just hit me in the face,
Yeah.
like
The band name. Yeah. Okay. Electric Sunshine.
like quite literally, like it just
Yeah.
and it made sense.
Wow. Okay. Cool. Well, that's a story. That's a story for sure. So tell me about, how would you describe your musical style now, your genre?
Oh, at this point, I don't
Yeah.
know. Um,
Mm.
I've never really like been able like it's rock, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really
Mm-hmm.
want to call it classic rock because it's now and it's like influenced by other more modern stuff. It's not
Mm-hmm.
entirely just Greta Van Fleeting it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But like I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
to I like to just say to people, how about you listen to it and you tell me what you think it is, and then that's what it
Yeah.
is.
That's what it is. I like that. Yeah, because in the end, it's kind of, it's in the eye of the beholder, right? Or the listener, I guess, in this
I
case.
think it's
So
funny
yeah,
to watch people argue over genres on the internet. So
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. You know, so a couple things that stood out to me as I listened to the music was there were times it had a T-Rex feel to it. Because to me, T-Rex kind of covered all those bases too. You'd hear acoustic stuff, you'd hear kind of the rock, the bang a gong kind of
right.
thing. It just was all of that. And so it was a little reminiscent, and I'm not trying to place a tag on it, but it reminded me a little bit of T-Rex, certainly some of the 70s stuff as well, other 70s classic rock kind of stuff. But your voice, has anybody ever said, "Hey, your voice sounds like reminds me of this," or "sounds like this person"? Have you ever had that?
I've had a lot of people say a lot of conflicting things.
Okay.
Uh, I do a lot of karaoke because it's fun,
Hmm.
and one of my buddies runs a bunch of karaoke nights, so I just go hang out with my friend,
Mm-hmm.
and we just kind of
Okay.
we'll just mess around. Like we'll give
Yeah.
each other songs to go sing.
Yeah.
Like, hey, screw you, you're gonna go sing this now. So people have said that I act like Freddie Mercury, but sound like the dude from The Doors, which I don't understand.
Hmm.
I've gotten Chris Cornell before, which I don't understand.
Hmm.
Um, I think somebody said Eddie Vedder once.
Hmm.
Like all this wacky stuff. I've gotten Robert Plant a couple times.
Really? Okay.
Janis Joplin once. That was a pack of cigarettes deep, but one time. Um, just everywhere. I don't really
Uh,
like nobody really.
yeah.
It just kind of
Yeah.
depends.
Well, I'll add one to the list, or if you haven't heard this one, you reminded me of the guy from Tesla, Jeff Keith.
Hell yeah, I haven't heard that one
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah, I heard a lot of that, and not that you're trying to mimic that, but for someone that's checking out the podcast and say, well, what kind of music? What's he sound like? To me, I would say Jeff Keith kept coming up, and of course he's a phenomenal singer. That's a phenomenal band.
Right, right. Yeah, no, I've
But
never gotten that
yeah,
one before. That's a pretty
yeah,
big compliment, man. Thank you.
yeah, cool, cool. Well, let's move into talking about your new album, Midnight Special, which is set to drop on October 7th,
Yes, sir.
and you're going to have a show that evening, which we'll talk about here in just a little bit. But let's tell me how the album came to be.
So I started writing some of those songs all the way back in high school, like towards the end,
Hmm,
um, like while I was in a better position.
hmm,
That's a long story, but I
hmm,
was in a better like physical position, literally, to finish the
okay.
rest of my high school. So I was actually able to like not be stressed and like work on things I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So that's when the first like live version of Electric Sunshine got together, and that was just a
Hmm,
bunch of guys that I knew from high school.
hmm.
One of which is going to come back and play with us, but we'll talk about that in a second, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so that was where Skies Real Slow got written and
Mm,
Vampires got written, the first
okay.
two singles, because I felt like it was only right to put out the first two that I wrote. And
Yeah,
I mean, they've made it this far. There's been way more that haven't made it and have been
yeah,
buried and
yeah. Okay,
buried and buried and buried.
okay,
So,
okay. So those are two of the older songs on here.
yes,
So
sir.
okay, cool. Yeah, yeah. Tell me the story, because skies the sky song that's the last song on the album.
Yes, sir.
Tell me just how you got the title for that. Tell me about the music, how that one came to be.
So the title is literally just from the chorus. It just kind of sounded nice, I guess. I
Hmm,
really don't know where that specifically came from, but the song
hmm.
itself is straight up. It's about cocaine.
Mm,
Got high school kids
wow.
writing about cocaine. Um, like more on
Uh,
like a hazy Pulp Fiction edit meets like Requiem for a Dream kind of way.
okay. All right. Yeah, I like that song. The how did you pick the song order? You got 10 songs here. Did you think about the order, or is it I'm sure you did, but I mean, is there a significance to the order, or is it just, hey, this feels like it leads into the next one?
So a little bit of both. I've always
Hmm.
been, I don't want to say good at, but I like my playlists and like my mixtapes that I
Hmm.
make,
Hmm.
like especially mixtapes because you can't like reorder those songs. You got one shot to, and it
Right.
has to be exactly because you. I feel like you probably remember them days. Like you got
Yeah.
exactly 31 and a half minutes per side.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
So
I
like
miss those days too. I miss those days. Yeah.
so it's a bit of that like it just kind of fits well together, but at the same
Yeah.
time like there's really only 9 songs. You can count the intro.
Yeah. I guess the intro, yeah, what that's 30 seconds or so, or 40 seconds.
I
But
split that off because so when I started doing it live with the
hmm.
second band, which is where like
Hmm.
the album started to start like actually coming together.
Hmm. Hmm.
I knew that there had to be some sort of like segue into the first song.
Hmm.
So that's where that intro started. The quote
Hmm.
is from J. Robert Oppenheimer, but I want to claim that I did that before the movie was announced. I did it before the movie was announced,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
nobody can tell me otherwise.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh, but he says, and the world will not be the same. We knew the world would not be the same. Some people laughed, some people cried, and the rest were silent. And I
Mm.
just felt like that was one, just super hard.
Hmm.
Like, just hell
Yeah.
yeah. But then
Yeah.
two, also kind of like fits with the way that like I've been doing this whole thing the whole time.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like, no matter what, I'm doing something different. The world will not be the same. Some
Hmm.
people like it, some people don't, and then most people haven't heard of it yet.
Yeah.
So for the
Yeah.
first album, it was just like, just kind of
Yeah.
fit
That's
nice.
cool. That's cool. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
that always has segued into Slacker because it's the same
Hmm.
like chord setup and it's
Yeah.
in the same way and it's like it was just meant to go into that
Yeah.
because you got these
Yeah.
big long like crashes and like just
Hmm.
strummy chords and then it goes
Hmm.
into this real tight, like bump but da but da,
Yeah.
da, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a really strong start to the album. I like it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So tell me, how did you record this? I read in some of what you sent that maybe you recorded it in the back of your Jeep, or tell me a
This
little bit about how.
so
Right.
this is the trap bag.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's reach into my bag of tricks, shall we?
All right.
So I was living in the back of a Jeep all summer, Jeep Patriot.
Okay.
I've figured something out, but we're not gonna discuss that.
Yeah. Okay.
Here's a bunch of wires. Here's a
Yeah.
Focusrite Scarlett, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
I was using some busted ass Audio Technica headphones for the longest time, and then all the vocals for the most part, Shure
Hmm.
SM57,
Yeah. Okay.
100%. All of the
Yeah.
amps and pedals for the most part, I just did uh, modeling because it was smaller and easier. A few key
Yeah.
songs I used like my actual pedals
Okay.
that like the super big important ones
Yeah.
because it's kind
Yeah.
of hard to fake a wah pedal, but
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. So you used a lot of the guitar sounds were the simulators in your laptop.
yep,
Yeah. Yeah. How
yep,
about the drums? How'd you track the drums? Were those in there too? Is that,
yep.
yeah. Do you have a Mac or is it a
I
PC?
have a 2012 MacBook Pro,
Okay.
so I had to
Okay.
jump through a bunch of hoops. I got it for $100 off a marketplace. I just kind of one morning, still living in my Jeep, was like, you know what? I have all this time. Fuck it. I'm gonna find the cheapest MacBook that I can, and I'm gonna get this
Yeah.
done as quickly as humanly
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I got her done.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. I applaud your patience to work on that, or at least from my perspective, patience, because I've messed around with GarageBand, and that just feels like so many rabbit holes you can go down, and
Oh no,
and maybe.
I stole a copy of Logic off the internet.
Oh, did you?
Uh huh.
Okay.
Why would you pay
Yeah.
$200 for a software that you can get off of Pirate Bay for free 99?
And it worked.
Very well, actually. It only
Yeah.
crashed like 8 times.
Okay. So there's maybe you got up to speed on how to operate that because those DAWs can be a little funny to me anyway.
So we had a Mac growing up, and then like I just used it for GarageBand, so I already kind of knew
Hmm.
how GarageBand worked.
Okay. Yeah.
And in high school and like after, I've been using Audacity a lot. So the
Hmm.
actual like technical side of the DAWs I figured out like that. So
Hmm.
going to Logic was
Yeah. Not that
like
not that big of a leap, at least.
everything that I was doing in Audacity that was taking all of these steps but sounding really, really good, I can now do with 3 button presses or a single keyboard command in Logic.
Hmm.
And then it's all
Okay.
with the ease and the interface of GarageBand where you can just drag and drop shit around.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. How long did it take you to put the album together?
Like recorded and stuff,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
summer,
From
all
yeah,
summer,
just all this summer.
pretty
Okay.
much. I can't remember
Yeah.
exactly when I got this MacBook, but it
Mm-hmm.
was probably like late May, early June, I want to say.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
from then till the other day.
Yeah. Okay. So you just wrapped up recording and yeah,
Yes,
okay.
sir.
So did you know that you had October 7th? Was it kind of on the books? And you're like, I've definitely got to be ready for that.
So it was gonna be the third, but then I was like, you know what? I want to do it on like a weekend and then have this
Mm-hmm.
whole shebang with it because
Mm-hmm.
I've been working on this for so long. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
it's go hard or go home, you know.
Yeah. 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 Cool. Who else played on the record with you?
So I tracked all of the instruments. I did the drums through not through a like an actual programmer, but actually like
Mm-hmm.
by hand through the musical typing.
Mm.
So if it kind of sort of half-assedly sounds like a real drummer, it's because I was actually sitting there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was
Okay.
trying to get as close to faking it as I could because I knew that I
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily going to have access to easily, quickly do drums like that. But I wanted it to sound good enough to like good enough for rock and roll,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay.
But we got a couple of songs that have some of my friends singing on it. "Sky's Real
Yeah.
Slow," the big
Mm-hmm.
one that's got Stevie Kerr on it. I've known her since high school.
Okay.
I just kind of called her one day when I was like almost halfway through or 3/4 of the way through doing "Sky's Real Slow," like way at the beginning of this,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like notoriously hard to get a hold of. Like you can ask anybody who knows her, she does not pick up her phone
No.
ever.
Ever.
And
Okay.
miraculously, I got a hold of her and I was like, "Hey, I have a song I need you to sing on like right now." And she was like, "Okay, you can just come over right now." I'm like, "All right, bet." Hauled ass
Uh,
over there, and she was a
yeah.
dream to work with. Like,
Yeah.
got all of her stuff done in less than 4 takes.
Wow.
Like,
Uh,
just she's a
Yeah.
choir singer, so she was very used to like blending. And I said, "No, you got to
Mm-hmm.
like womp it." And the second that I
Mm-hmm.
said that she understood like what womping it was, like
Mm-hmm.
shoulders back, just like don't be pretty with it, like
Yeah.
put your I quite literally told her to put her balls into it, and she was like, "What do you
Yeah.
mean?" I was like, "You got to put your balls into it. This is rock and roll. It comes from your balls." And she was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, I
All
think I
right.
got it." And she got it, and it sounded absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Was there any other background singers or was she your sole background singer?
Other than me tracking my own vocals and silly voices,
Yeah.
I blended her and me for like the chorus and stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's one more track that has my buddy Nash Avenue, who's going to be playing with me at the thing.
Yeah. On the 7th.
Yeah,
Yeah. And what's he play?
he's going to be playing rhythm guitar with me and doing
Okay.
some backup vocals.
Okay. And he did a little bit of that on a song.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, he did some backup vocals on a track called "It's Too Warm in Here." He
Mm.
in the
Yeah.
verse, he's on some of those harmonies, and he's on the chorus.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. Um, so like I said, Slacker starts off the record. Stumbling Drunk. That's a bit of a little funk rocker. What's is that a true narrative there? Is that what
A
happened?
little bit. So,
Yeah.
the first apartment that me and my baby mama were living in,
Mm-hmm.
her like I was just kind of sitting there messing around with the guitar, and one of her friends at the time was like, I want you to make fun of indie rock right now. Write the most like horrendous like indie rock song you can, and let's hear it. And
Hmm.
so I was like, okay, what do people in indie rock bands sing about? They whine about their hometown and their college parties and running out of cigarettes and drunk people.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna absolutely just roast all of UIndy. The entire UIndy party scene from like 2019, just roasted. So
Okay.
that is all. Yes, everything in that
Yeah.
story is pretty much entirely true, except I
Yeah.
don't know what girl is stumbling drunk down some stairs that I'm
Hmm.
like obsessed with or whatever, but it just
Yeah.
sounded nice. So
Yeah. Okay.
there's the
All right.
chorus.
Okay. Very good. Do you, as far as writing, are these all solo written? Do you do any co-writing?
I don't usually like I am for hire.
Hmm.
Hi, I'm for hire. So if anybody like needs like lead guitar, mostly is what people
Hmm.
hire me for.
Hmm.
I'll come on and do that.
Hmm.
Um, you can give me credit or not as long as I get paid for it. I'm
Yeah.
cool, you know.
You're good with that. Yeah.
But like when I write my stuff for Electric Sunshine, no, it's pretty much all me.
Hmm.
When the band goes and plays live, every time I get a new group together, they're definitely encouraged to like take what I've written and expand upon it themselves and like make it their
Hmm.
own. Like
Yeah.
I want everybody to have fun while they're playing it. That's why a lot of the songs are relatively simple and set up for the first
Hmm.
album
Hmm.
because, you know, those are the ones that everybody's going to know the longest. So those are the ones that you're always going to be able to fall back on no matter what point in your career that you're at. So if
Mm.
you make those as simple as possible, you can always jam on them and they're the easiest ones to jam on.
That's wow. That's some great insight there. That's and good for you. Yeah, you need something to fall back and have easy songs to play. I'm playing with some guys now in a cover band, and I like the easy ones. Yeah, because just for the reason that you said, really, you can pull that out and everybody knows it. You can play it, and
And I also realized, like, while I was writing a lot of these songs, like, especially the ones that got scrapped and thrown away, that
hmm,
the best classic rock songs aren't, like, sure, you got, like, Hotel California, Freebird.
hmm,
Honestly, I'm not even going to go. Okay, we're going to come back to Freebird because that's really, like, three chords. We're not going to talk about the first part of Freebird. The good part of
right,
Freebird is three
yeah,
chords.
you're right,
So
right,
we got Hotel California, Stairway to Heaven. Um, that's pretty much it. You got two songs that are like super duper complex that are like hailed as the best ones from that era. All the
yeah,
other ones, bro, it's like Steve Miller.
yeah,
Steve Miller plays three chords, dude.
yeah, yeah.
ACDC. Akadaka plays three chords, dude. Who else we got?
Yeah,
Who else plays
yeah,
three? Led Zeppelin plays three chords, dude. Other than
yeah,
Stairway to Heaven, like a lot of their
yeah,
stuff is really, really simple, and all the stuff that
yeah.
people know is that
Hmm.
really simple stuff.
Hmm. Yeah,
You have
absolutely right.
You got to have verses that make sense and tell your story, and a
Hmm.
chorus that sonically ties into it.
Hmm.
It just has to
Yeah,
sound nice with it. It doesn't actually have to make sense.
right, right. I would agree with that. I think you're onto something there. So cool. Um, one of the favorites that jumped out as I listened to it, and I think I listened to it through the album 4 or 5 times now. No Chain, but that's a little bit of a slower one. Tell me the story about No Chain.
So that was written about a year ago almost.
Hmm.
Uh, and that was written about like just some I was still living with my baby mama
Hmm.
and like that's a whole that's lore that nobody needs.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was just in a situation, just not feeling the best about everything regarding the
Hmm.
whole relationship. So I just kind of wrote that,
Hmm.
and that one's a very literal song.
Okay.
uh, but when I actually went to like go record it, like
Hmm.
it was like I wrote this dumb little poem, and then I was like, all right, well, that kind of has like a, like a 6/8 kind of lean to it.
Mm.
Like a 1, 2, 3, 4, or yeah, 6, yeah, like a House of the Rising
Mhm.
Sun kind of feel.
Mm. Mhm.
And I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna do something with it, and I kind of had that like womp, womp, womp in my head,
Mhm.
and it just kind of came out one day.
Okay. Okay.
And for the actual recording of it, I wanted to have two guitars soloing over each other at the same time, but like one of them
Yeah.
is noticeably quieter.
Mhm.
So like one is being talked over the entire time, but then at
Mhm.
the end you can kind of hear it come up.
Yeah. 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 I made a note of that. Of course, you're playing both of those.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. So where did you literally record some of this in the back of your Jeep or yeah. Okay.
Some of it was
Wow.
recorded in the back of the Jeep. The solo at the end of Skies Real Slow was recorded behind World Famous Hotboys at the bench table back there
Okay. Wow. Okay.
because they had a wall outlet. A lot of it was recorded, like my bass and some of my rhythm guitars on some of
Mhm.
the other like janglier tracks. Like let me
Mhm.
think. Oh god, I want to say it's Walden. Probably has
Mhm.
a double neck 12 string on it that I use for the 12 string.
Okay.
So stuff like that was done at Guitar Center because I didn't have access to a bass. But like the guys at the Guitar Center in Greenwood were really cool, and they were
Mhm.
like, "Yeah, dude, nobody uses the studio space. Like it's literally here so that people can come and like do stuff like this. Like
Oh,
have
really?
have at it." Yeah, that's like a little
Okay.
known fact that a lot of the times like they will encourage you to like go and like if you have like bring your own laptop or whatever and your
Yeah.
own like recording setup for the most part, but like you can use their like if there's a used microphone that they have in, you
Mhm.
can definitely use one of those real quick. You can pretty much use any of the instruments. Bonus points if it's one of the used ones, like you can really like shred on one of those because it's used. Like you don't have to be extra
Right.
like you can lean into it a little bit. And honestly,
So
those the used ones they play better anyway.
yeah, yeah. So are you going to those little practice spaces, or do they actually have a recording area? Because I know some guitar centers at one time, and maybe still do, had an actual recording studio
It's not like
in
a
it.
full fledged studio. It's more like a kind of half assed display for all their studio stuff, but
Okay.
it's pretty quiet and it works pretty well for like what you need it for. If you're just gonna
Wow.
go and do some like some instrument tracking.
Very cool. Okay. I did not know that. Yeah. Well, that's one way to work on a budget.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was free 99.
I like that. Free 99. Um, so you talked about the double leads. Those are leads that you've probably worked out, I would guess,
Nope.
or nope, you're just improvising.
Every single
Yeah.
thing every time I go and make a run, I improvise it. There's some
Hmm.
songs that have like things that are kind of worked out that have just been like I've just repeated them so many times. Like the
Hmm.
solo in Vampires starts the same every time. Um, Slacker, the down, 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 bow, like that's a consistent
Hmm.
thing.
Hmm.
The solo to Skies Real Slow starts the same every time for the most part.
Yeah.
Like there's some
Okay.
bits, like the beginnings of them,
Hmm.
that are all consistent, but the rest of them, no. I pretty much make everything up as I go.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. And you'd mentioned vampires. You've got vampires, and is Skies Real Slow? Are those the two you've got up on YouTube now? I've seen those on
Yeah,
YouTube, or that you've released as singles, I guess.
yes, yep,
Yeah. Okay. And those are your two older songs.
yes, sir.
Yeah, tell me about vampires. There may be a really these you've had interesting stories about every one of these so far. So tell me about
You're
vampires.
about to be sorely disappointed, my friend. I was in high school and
Yeah.
I was like super into Arctic Monkeys at the time, and
Mm,
I wanted to write a sort of Arctic Monkeys type song,
mm-hmm.
but I didn't know what about. So I was like, you know what? I'm just writing about vampires. So I'm gonna write a song about a vampire trying to pick a girl up at a bar, but I'm gonna like not really work that hard on the lyrics part. I'm just gonna make it a banger,
Yeah.
and I tried my best.
Yeah, I think you did. I think it worked because I actually noted that's probably the most straightforward rock song on the album. And there are others, but that one just straight up rocks.
Yeah, hell
So
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Good for you. Good for you. So you talked about Walden. I'm assuming it sounds like in the lyrics there's some connection to the book,
Mhm.
Walden. Yeah. What inspired that beyond, I guess, beyond the book?
I mean, just a that was a couple years ago that I wrote that. So that
Mm-hmm.
was just a desire to not be in Indiana anymore.
Hmm.
Like
Okay.
I've been in Indianapolis the majority of my life. Really, Indianapolis the majority of my life.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of be in one place. You don't get to go anywhere
Right.
else for
Right.
the longest periods of time. Like I don't really ever leave the state much at this
Yeah.
point. So
Yeah.
it was written from a place of wanting to get away from all of that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. And you talked about Skies Real Slow. I love the name, that title, and you maybe have referenced that already. But how did you actually come up with that title?
Took it from the chorus.
Yeah.
Took it straight from the
Okay.
chorus. I don't even know what that means. I'm gonna be
That's kind of
honest.
the beauty of it. That's the
Right.
beauty of it. It kind of like builds your own meaning to it. Because I
It
was thinking, what does that mean? I don't. I like it. I don't know what it means,
like
but
the first bit of it, like obviously is about like the addiction part.
hmm,
Like can't drive too slow while she's with me,
yeah,
right? Like don't want to get pulled over by the cops,
yeah,
but like you're speeding, so you're gonna keep
mm-hmm,
doing it.
mm-hmm,
Uh, and it goes around twice. So the first time it says, "Let her eat up my disease," like eat,
mm-hmm,
because when you're sad, you do cocaine and it makes you feel better.
mm-hmm,
But then you get addicted, and then she becomes your disease.
mm, okay,
And then the sky's real slow part, I don't know, just the feeling. I guess if we're gonna assign meaning to it, now that I've gotten older and I've done a lot more cocaine, I'm gonna go with that's the feeling. That's just how it feels when you're sitting on a stoop at like 6:30 in the morning after a
okay,
whole long night. You're just watching the sun rise over everything,
okay,
and you're
all right,
thinking to yourself, "Well, we got a whole nother day to go through.
yeah,
Time to do it
yeah,
again."
yeah. Do it all over. Yeah, okay. Cool. So you've been playing these songs for a while because you've actually released a live record from Be Here Now in Muncie,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of. It's on
Yeah.
SoundCloud.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've been playing these songs for a while, or most of them maybe. What songs are you enjoying playing live the most? I'm sure you enjoy them all, but are there some songs you go, boy, I really look forward to playing this one or these?
So I'm definitely gonna have to say Vampires is always super fun to play.
Mm-hmm.
One, because like the energy is just ridiculous, and you just kind of
Mm-hmm.
yell the whole time, and it's one that definitely gets people dancing. Stumbling Drunk
Mm-hmm.
also is super fun because
Mm-hmm.
it's fun to see people having a good time. But
Yeah.
honestly, the most fun one to actually like go and play, that's one of
Mm-hmm.
mine that I like wrote
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
is definitely going to be No Chain, because like the whole thing
Mm,
is just jamming, guitar solos, shreddery, guitar
yeah,
wizardry.
yeah, yeah. Cool. All right. Very good. I've been following you a while on Instagram, and even now, just talking to you, you're a high energy guy, and you bring a lot of that to your show
I
too.
try my best.
Yeah, yeah. So that's just in you. Uh, you're just a high energy, get after it kind of guy, and then that carries over in your live performance. I saw a couple of videos of you playing at the Slippery Noodle.
Yes, sir.
I don't know, was that recently?
Yeah, those should be. They
Y-
do a jam night every Wednesday. I go every so
Yeah.
often.
Do you? Yeah. Okay. And looks like you're having a good time there. Tell me about just playing live, what that means to you, what the folks that come out and want to see you play. What's the experience like?
So I've had some people that have been like on the train since day one for the most part,
Mm-hmm.
and there's nothing that feels better than going up to do something that like you want to make your job, like going,
Mhm.
I say I'm going to work, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
so nothing beats like going to work to do something that you love. And
Yeah.
then you go and you look out and like the first three people that you see are people that have been there with you, supporting you, like
Yeah.
know all the words to your songs and have the whole
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
But then also at the same time, like they bring new friends with them, like,
Mm.
hey, come look at this.
Mhm.
So you get to like see your old friends and then you get to make new friends at the same time. And you can
Yeah.
only really do that like through the music at like these live shows. Like you can't really
Yeah.
like sure you could send one of your friends this album, but there's something
Mhm.
so like
Mm.
different about being there in person. Like we're loud. We are a loud band.
Okay.
I emphasize that. I don't know how loud we're going to be on the roof. I mean, at the thing that we haven't talked
Mhm.
about yet.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about. Yeah. We'll get to that, or we can talk about it now. Yeah.
Heck.
Yeah.
But
Um.
historically, I've been known to use half stacks for everything, even like the tiniest little bar gigs.
Mhm. Yeah.
Minimum, half stack minimum. Like we are a loud band.
Yeah.
We're pretty much only ever limited by the drummer, and Jack's pretty loud this time. So I think
Okay.
we'll have everything up at 11.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So yeah, you've got this show October 7th for your album release, and it's on a rooftop. Give me the background on that.
So
What are you
I,
looking forward to?
I've always loved the Beatles.
Hmm.
Always loved the Beatles, and we're gonna start there because that's where I initially kind of got the idea. I'm not trying to say I'm like trying to be like the Beatles or anything,
Right.
but I've always loved the rooftop performance of Apple Records, like right at the end of
Mm.
their career.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm pretty sure there's a "Don't Bring Me Down" on there. I can't ever remember, but like one of those "Don't
Mm-hmm.
Bring Me Downs" is really good, and then
Mm-hmm.
just the whole aesthetic of it all, like them getting like hassled by the police and then telling the police to effectively go fuck themselves, and then
Yeah.
still playing with the police just
Yeah.
standing there like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
told you lot not to play your bloody rocky roll music in streets no more. And we don't care. We're gonna keep playing it." So I wanted to kind of
Uh,
take that energy, but
yeah.
then do it today because I knew I
Yeah.
wasn't. I know I'm not gonna have any problems with like the police come knocking
Mm-hmm.
on my door
Right.
if I'm doing it like the way I'm doing it, but
Yeah.
I knew I had to
So
do it some way,
yeah.
somehow.
So tell me the name of the location again and the address so those that are listening can check it out.
So that's where I was gonna get to next. It's at World Famous Hotboys, 1004 Virginia Avenue,
Okay.
right in Fountain Square, and
Yeah.
that's where I work. I'm branded,
Oh, there you go.
yeah.
Okay.
So come get some chicken from me sometime. That'd be
Yeah.
real cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh, so I kind of woke up one morning, and I was like, you know what? There's no other roof that I can think of that would actually let me do this that would like
Mm-hmm.
work.
Mm-hmm.
So I walked into work. I said to my boss, "Hey boss, I'm gonna play a show on the roof for my album release, and I'm not really gonna take no for an answer." And he was like, "Yeah, I don't care." And I was like, "Score!"
Yeah. All right. Good for you. So what time's that start
That's
on that
gonna start at
Saturday?
well, the noise is gonna be at 8. Everybody can start showing up at like 7.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Okay.
band, you guys have to be there at 6, just in
uh,
case they listen to this. Just a little
yeah.
reminder:
Yeah.
6 o'clock is your load-in time.
Yeah. All right. Boy, that'll be a load in too to get it up on the rooftop. I can't even picture that.
That's why it's 2 hours before noise.
Yeah. Wow. Especially if you're taking a half stack up there.
I think we're doing all combos just to make things easier.
Are
But
you okay? Yeah, but still, that's going to be some work.
it's a
Yeah.
few. It's going to be a couple amplifiers and a few people for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Um, so tell me real quickly about your rig. Does it change? Do you tend to play the same guitars and amps and pedals?
So
Uh,
I'm very particular about my guitars.
mhm,
I have 3, but one of them is like on the bench right now and has been for
mm,
some years. I have to do a bunch of
okay.
work to it.
Okay.
So we're not going to talk about her, but
Yeah.
I have a Strat that I've had
Mhm.
for not very long,
Mhm.
about a year and a half now. I got it for like $90,
Okay.
and I mean, clean up the crackly pots and like make sure that everything like works right or whatever. But I'd put it
Yeah.
up like sonically. I would put up against any other Strat any day of the
Mhm.
week.
Mhm.
Um, the one that I've been using for the longest time, that's the majority of like the humbucker tone on the album,
Mhm.
was either this random SG that I found at this guitar center with one of them like really long. Just the next, it just feels extra long for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I call it feels like a Les Paul, plays like a Strat,
Mhm.
because it
Okay.
feels like a Les Paul, but it plays
Yeah.
like a Strat. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, or the my Les Paul that I've had since freshman year of high school. I don't even know. It was like my first like actual like shredder guitar that was like my
Mhm.
workhorse that did pretty much everything. They're both covered in stickers, but I'm super
Yeah.
particular about my instruments. Like I don't like
Mhm.
to just get a guitar just to get one. Like I'll sit there and I will try every single instrument in the store before I'm like,
Mm.
okay, this one.
Mhm.
But if I don't find one that speaks, I just put it back. Like
Put it back.
it's gotta
Yeah.
be one that like talks.
Yeah. It's funny how individual they can be. They may look the same, but they're all so different.
I firmly believe that even two identical guitars from the exact same everything,
Mhm.
model, gear, factory, it could be like, let's say we have twins, right? Here's
Yeah.
my Strat, and then you have your Strat, right? My Strat was made first, yours was the next one over. They're going to be completely different guitars. They're going to
Yeah.
sound different,
Yeah.
they're going to feel different. Like they're
Yeah.
both going to be Strats, sure, but they're going to have different little
Sure.
quirks.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. Tell me about your amp. What do you have, an amp of choice?
For the longest time, I was using a Fender DeVille. Then in college,
Mm.
that flew out the back of my buddy's truck
Mm.
because he got into a little wrecky in the
Okay.
in the winter. So I kind of lost that, and
Mm.
then was just kind of amp homeless for a while, just using
Mhm.
whatever amp was available, just little bedroom amps.
Mhm.
Uh, got another half stack. So in high school, I had a half stack Marshall, and then I also had a that nice-ish Fender
Mhm.
410, and those were
Mhm.
like my two. I used the Fender a lot though.
Mhm.
Uh, my other half stack that I had for less than a year
Mhm.
recently was a Fender FM from like the
Mm.
90s, 2000s. It
Yeah.
was like a Laney
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't have
All
that
right.
anymore. So I'm trying to find like a combo or something. I'm just trying to go smaller so I can have everything be more portable. But like,
Sure.
I really, really, really like me a good 412.
Yeah.
They just they move air.
They move air. They sure do. Yeah. Yeah. It's totally different than a combo, but there's room for a combo, but 4 by 12, man, it will move some air. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Well, hey, we can begin to wrap up here. What's the rest of 2023 look like for you? Hopefully more shows beyond your album release show. Talk a little bit about that.
Maybe I don't quite know. So this album release show, the lineup is me on lead and vocals, Nash Avenue on rhythm guitar and backup vocals. We
Mm-hmm.
got Elvin Morales Perez on bass, Jacob Tomlin on keys, and then Jack Hergenrother on drums. And that's the only time you'll ever see this lineup. So
Okay.
I don't really quite know.
Mm.
I've been invited to do like a tiny desk over the
Mm.
winter.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see about that. You might see
Yeah.
something else. You might see a New Year's party. Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
figure it out. I
Okay.
really want to go and just start working on the second album at this point
Mm-hmm.
because I've been
Mm-hmm.
working on this one for so long
Mm-hmm.
that I'm done. I want to be free.
Yeah.
I want to be
Yeah.
I want to be
Yeah.
free.
Yeah. I get it. I get it. Yeah. Okay. So how can fans connect with you, Sam?
So,
What are the avenues there?
so I am on Instagram at Electric Sunshine. That's pretty
Mm-hmm.
much it.
With
Uh,
two N's, by the way, two N's.
SUNNSHINE
Yeah.
Sunshine.
Yeah.
You can find me at my website, or you can email me. There's a
Hmm.
little link that you click on. It looks like an envelope. If you click that, you can email me for like booking, questions, comments,
Hmm.
concerns, hate
Hmm.
mail. Send me hate mail. I don't care. Uh,
Don't send hate mail,
oh
people.
no,
Don't
no.
do hate
You
mail.
go ahead. Send me whatever you want. Whatever is going to make you feel better and sleep better at night. That is what you may send me.
Yeah.
But if
Or
anybody,
if you need a ceremony, if you need a reverend,
true
there you
that.
go. Email him, hit him up on Instagram. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Instagram or email is pretty much the premier way for the general public to get a hold of me.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, very good. I wish you all the best. I hope the show goes better than you anticipate. Yeah, and that the weather cooperates.
That's
So,
really what I'm banking on.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. So, okay, all right. Hey, I appreciate you hanging out. Let's hang around. I'm going to stop the record here and we'll chit chat real quick.
Right
So,
on.
appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Oh yeah.